favorite health tips right here on U24. Maintain your kidney by drinking 8 to 10 glasses of water each day. This can be in form of soup, tea, water, cooked grains and boiled vegetables.
Hello, my name is Erica Murunchi and welcome to Be Inspired by Erica. So today I want to talk about personal hygiene. Personal hygiene is not just a habit, it is a way of life. By maintaining personal hygiene, you will reduce stress, improve on your focus, show respect for yourself and others around you, to the people around you. Take care of your space and your life. Keep your room tidy, wash your hands, cut your fingernails, comb your hair, brush your teeth, and many others. Take care of your space and your life. Brush your teeth, make your bed, bathe, cut your fingernails, comb your hair, and many others. Make cleanliness a habit. Personal hygiene should be a priority. Cleanliness is next to godliness. Stay blessed. Much love. Thanks for watching.
Hi, my name is Doreen Tuhidire, coming to you from Be Money Wiser, and we're going to be bringing to you the hashtag 100 Ways to Be Money Wiser by Mrs. T. Tilda Nabandra. We're going to be running this hashtag 100 Ways to Be Money Wiser on U24 television. Don't miss out.
U24. Don't miss.
A very good evening, and of course you are welcome to Youth of Purpose right here on U24 television with me, your host Cheslin Ankonda. I trust and hope that wherever you are, everything is treating you well, and if it is not, we pray and hope that God comes through for you. Of course, it is this exact time where we host young people to discuss on different conversations that mean so much to their hearts, and this specific episode we talk about the recent concluded International Youth Day celebrations, but also alive to the fact that this is a special day that is set to celebrate young people. And we want to know, should we just have one day to celebrate young people, or is it that particular time where we have their voices more re-echoed in that particular perspective? But also Uganda has had a halt on some of the celebrations of these specific days, and especially in terms of putting resources aside for them to happen as it has always been. This specific year, we have had a few of the National Youth Council representation celebrating, also trying to put dots here and there, along with the Vice President, to make sure that young people's perspectives are actually appreciated. Of course, this year, under the theme, different contexts and common aspirations. And we want to know, what does this mean in every young person's life? For the young people maybe in Chabjimbi, in Bushenyi, do they even know about this day? Do they even know that it actually exists? But also if they do not know, how can we be able to extend the same conversation that even in rooms where they are not, they are able to benefit? And as usual, I am not alone in studios. Today I have a team of 3 young people, and amazingly, all of them are here for the very first time. So you're welcome to Youth of Purpose on this specific episode.
Thank you.
And we are happy to have you. Hope you continue to come through whenever invited. So next to me is Salambat Ayebare, who will be able to introduce himself later, but he's doing amazing work in terms of education and empowering young people in the different perspectives. And next to Lambert is Nkurunziza Precious, who is also a host and doing well with podcast and empowering young people through putting out information, through creating a platform for information, actually, right information to be out there. Next to Nkuru is Solomon Emmanuel Opolot, who is also an ESC Youth Fellow, but also a policy analyst joining us. And he'll be able to also take us through what does this day actually mean at a regional level, but also how do we tap into these conversations. And in a minute, I usually allow you, my guests, to say hello to our viewers and introduce yourself to us, and then we shall be getting into the conversation later. And I will start it off with my immediate neighbor, Salam, but kindly say hello to our listeners.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. Good evening. Very good evening to the viewers. Very good evening to the youth in this country. My name is Lambert Ayebare, youth leader, as you may say, the CEO Academia Space, where we mentor and elevate the youth in this country. And again, I'm an educator. I'm a lecturer at Makerere University Business School. Happy to connect with you all. Thank you so much.
We're happy to have you on this week's episode, and we can't wait for you to unpack for us the conversation. And of course, being a lecturer in such an age, I also want to know how you made it. But let me get to you, Nkuru. Kindly say hello to our viewers, to our listeners, and tell us, who is Nkuru?
Thank you so much, Truslyn, our dear host. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, to everyone who's watching. I hope you're doing well. And as already introduced, I would love to add to her voice. My name is Precious Nkurunziza. Many people know me as Nkuru, so it's really okay. You can still address me as Nkuru. I am a show host and a founder of Beyond the Books podcast, which is a platform where we explore life beyond academia. What are some of the things that they don't teach us in class? So I'm so happy to be here, and I look forward to an interesting conversation and hoping that you have a very lovely time. Thank you so much.
Amazing. Beyond the books. I think that is a conversation that we can actually have a whole theme for discussion.
Right.
Especially that one of my lecturers wrote a book that we don't teach that at the university. And so there's so much that we never get to learn, but the realities await outside. Let me get to you, Opolot. Kindly say hello to our listeners, to our viewers. Tell us, who is Solomon?
Thank you very much, dear host Truslyn, for gathering us together today, and special thanks to you, our dear listeners and viewers, for tuning in to participate in this conversation. And of course, great thanks to God for keeping us safe and alive, that we are able to be here today. I am Opolot Emmanuel Solomon. Truslyn introduced me as an East African Youth Fellow. Yes, I graduated from that program very recently in May. That was in Arusha, Tanzania, at a training institute called MSTCDC. And just that she mentioned that, I'd love also to state that there's an opportunity that has been sent out for all youth in East Africa to apply for the next cohort of the East African Youth Fellowship. I'm also the legal and training coordinator at the Uganda Center for Law and Transformation. I know there are many more things I could say in regards to myself, but because of time, I can only share a summary for now.
Thank you so much, Opolot, and congratulations on your graduation as an ESC Fellow. Let me start it off with you, Lambert, especially that you're right next to me. When we talk about International Youth Day celebrations,
Yes.
what preamble would you give, or what comes to your mind? Is it just a day where it's not even a public holiday, by the way. So one would say, is it just a day where I have to stay home? But that's not the case. So what does it mean particularly to you as a young person when we talk about the International Youth Day celebrations?
Thank you so much, Tresley, and to the viewers tonight. International Youth Day is actually not today. Someone may think it is today, but it is. It was on 12th of August, I think, 12th of August. And having a day of celebration, like anyone's birthday, like anyone's marriage day, I think that sheds more light to what the world thinks about us as youth. Because I am youth, you're youth, and everyone on the panel is actually youth. It shows that everyone respects the fact that this is a generation that needs to be celebrated. Now, to me, it gives me joy that it's actually the youth speaking about youth issues. And to everyone there who's youth, like me, like you who's watching, it's a day to celebrate the youthfulness. Because if we look at the youth in the eyes of UN, let me give an example. In the eyes of UN, what do they want? They want youth to have participation. They want youth to have decent work. But then today's discussion shall be, then what has been done towards that? What is the youth today? The youth today in Uganda specifically, as I told you, I'm going to be specific to Uganda. Ugandan youth, you'll find that we are informally employed. Right? 90% of the employed youth are actually informally employed, in terms of, by research, you'll find that they don't have formal contracts. Meaning, in our local language, you say leisure. Like they are working as if for free. Yes. Now, when you ask me to say, what does this mean? It means that we have a chance to have discussions rotating on such issues. Issues to do with formalize the contracts of the youth that are working for the organizations. Issues to do with decent work environments. So to me, tonight is a very good area, a very good platform for us to put our own bricks to the development of our own youth, me and you inclusive. Thank you so much.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much for that. And I like the fact that you highlight on some of the key issues, especially on decent work, especially on unemployment, that young people up to today continue to decry. But yet we keep praising that we have the numbers, we are the majority, which is not translating into the action and the realities that we face. But let me get to you, Nkuru. When we talk about International Youth Day, which happened last week, what does it mean to you as a young person, as someone who has just finished campus, but also as a young lady doing amazing work in the spaces?
Thank you so much for that good question. I am not going to go far from what my colleague has said. But talking about the International Youth Day, the fact that it's recognized globally, that is a sign that we are valued out there. Someone is ready to hear our decry. Someone is ready to give us an opportunity. Someone is ready to give us that seat at the table. But now the question goes back to what he said. How are we celebrating the day? What meaning are we according to this day? Are we really giving it the importance that it needs? As a case in point, we've seen people in our villages, maybe let me use mine as a case in point, Kisoro district. Even if I ask someone, really, are you aware of the International Youth Day? They're going to tell you they don't know about it. Why? Because they've not felt the impact. So the day is there, but to us, it's more of a ceremonial thing. We are just seeing it on the calendar. It's not being even celebrated, accorded the time that it needs. We are not given a chance to come and talk, deliberate, and also express our concerns, because I don't expect someone who is out of the age bracket, someone who is not a youth, to come and present exactly what I feel.
Do you think we must wait for the International Youth Day to celebrate and air our views?
Absolutely not. We should celebrate ourselves every day. We should be given a chance every day. They should listen to us every time and give us that seat on the table. You don't have to wait for that day because literally it's ceremonial. There is nothing much attached to it. So we deserve to be celebrated, not only celebrated, but had given an opportunity and also be brought in those decision rooms.
Amazing, amazing. You mentioned something that I'll come to you later when you mentioned that they deserve to give us a seat at the table. I don't know who that they is, and especially that we continue to say that we have the numbers, we have the numbers.
The they is us.
Okay, so we deserve to give ourselves the seat.
Yeah.
But let me get to you, Opolot.
Yeah.
When we talk about International Youth Day celebrations, but also usually when we have a whole month running, it is termed as the Youth Month, maybe.
Yeah.
So what comes to your mind and understanding when we talk about the International Youth Day? Is it just a piece of legislation that is put out there, especially that we are a lawyer, or is it just something that we can say that, look, oh, this is our day and take pride in it?
Yeah, thank you very much, Treslin, moderator. The International Youth Day, in its current state, is more ceremonial, and it is more of a day in the context, I think, of those that are in civil society and then governments and different stakeholders that do work around the youth. I think it is also a day to just remind themselves, encourage themselves in regards to the work they do around the youth, and also to carry out some more joint advocacy, collaborative advocacy around the youth. But specifically, I'd love to address the Youth Day celebration of this year, the International Youth Day celebration, as Lambert has alluded to, that was celebrated on 12th August. This year's theme was surrounding the area of, you mentioned it earlier, the fact that there are different contexts, but common aspirations. When you look at, and then in extension, the target for this particular year was for the world to remind themselves, but also to cause action to be done towards helping youths that are in the least developed countries, the landlocked countries like Uganda, among other landlocked countries around the continent and other continents of the world, and then youths that are also growing up or raising and have aspirations in the small island countries around the world, among others. Now, these kinds of youth, in a way, have a certain form of disadvantage, which disadvantage can actually be overcome by collective support and collective effort. So this year's target was actually to look into those youth and voice their aspirations, give encouragement to them, and see to it that they are supported in one way or the other. Now, just before I conclude, I'd love to bring our attention to the context of Africa. In Africa, Africa has the youngest population, as you are all aware, in the world, and it is noted that by 2030, 42% of the world youngest population will be from Africa. So that means if you are to go by the thematic or the idea that it is the youth who actually run economies, the African youth, the numbers in Africa will be the percentage that Africa will have the percentage of youth that is able, one, to power the development of Africa itself, but also that can power the development of other parts of the world. Because you see, the other parts of the world are getting older, they're not going to keep on working at 80 years. Many of these continents are going to open up their gates and doors eventually to the African continent youth to go and serve and support their development, because it will be the African youth who will be much younger at that time. But Treslin and my fellow panelists, let us look into the fact that, one, in Africa, as an example, it's only SADC, SADC and a few countries in East Africa that have a youth who has a stable environment.
Yes.
Many of the countries in Africa have youth, but these youth are going through either war, conflict on a day-to-day basis. They don't have the opportunity to probably get skilling, go to school and attain day-to-day education. They don't have the opportunity to go and work, you know, and be valuable, use their energies valuably, because anytime there is an attack happening on their village, so they are always in transit, you know, because of what they are displaced. And as you may know, Uganda is a host country to the biggest population of refugees in Africa. And I believe, by observation, by just using your eyes, when you look at the number of refugees in Kampala alone, you will see to it that the biggest number is the youth. You know, thankfully for Uganda, we have an open door policy, but also a supportive environment, even to support the refugees to attain education. And also you'll go to different institutions of learning and you'll find that they are being supported, but that's not the case for other African countries. So it is important for us to have this discussion while bearing in mind that we are living in a context of a continent or a world where the youth are facing conflict or are not in stability. So they are unable to really realize their aspirations as, for example, youth in the United States of America would easily realize, because the country is economically, politically, democratically stable for most of the decades.
Interesting. Yes. Let me first get back to Sir Lambert.
Yes,
and it's going to be a rejoinder from the specific theme. When we talk about different contexts, and when we talk about similar aspirations, you mentioned that you are a lecturer. Education is one of those institutions where we think that at least if you're somehow educated, then perhaps you'd easily get a job. But we also know that so many young people have been victims of the career mismatch, education mismatch, and those are lucky because they have at least attained some kind of education. But we also have young people in the unemployment sector, whether they have gone to school or not. This is one of a similar context that young people are facing all over Uganda, but also across Africa and elsewhere. How do we leverage on celebrations of events like International Day to echo the importance of youth employment, because you highlighted on decent work, but also how do we redefine education and progress in terms of survival? Is it that I should go to school for me to be able to earn, or is it that there are other things, especially with the different trends, that I can be able to earn a living?
Okay. To the viewers, I need to first declare conflict of interest. That I am conflicted, that whoever is here is educated. So there is no way I can downplay the power of education. She's a lawyer, she's an IT guru, he's a lawyer. So that's for the first time, before I get into greeting this country, first accept that education in Uganda has worked, because all of us are a product of that education. However, want to thank Ministry of Education together with UNEB and all the stakeholders and the government at large, executive and parliament, that something is being done in regards to redesigning the curriculum of this country. We are in CBET, that is competence-based education and training, which primary has been enrolled already. Secondary has been enrolled already. We already have recruits. I mean, it starts from senior 1 or senior 5. I think senior 5 is already on board for this current year. Now, university, we are 1 semester away. We are 1 semester away into enrolling CBET, that is curriculum competence-based education and training. And to summarize all the objectives, to me, I feel the objective of the country as a nation is skilling Uganda, which is initially what the president has been fighting for, from the time he brought NADS to the time he brought Operation Wealth Creation. We have had Youth Livelihood Fund, we have had the Myoga. All this has been trying to make sure we get people from poverty. Now, time for education. Education, they have brought CBET. But let us look at the terrain from which the youth are surviving. Let's not shy away. The terrain the youth are surviving. What are the youth programs like the programs that are specifically for the youth. And if the Minister of Youth is listening, you invite the people on this bench, invite other people, we go to the KCCA hall and we actually tell you the truth that is on ground. One, we have UNSA, okay, Uganda National Students Association. We have NYC, National Youth Council. Now, when we come back to education institution, which is the context of what you have asked me, we have guild leaders, from the guild president to the subsequent ministers. Then you will hear that we have debate society. All these associations are meant to do what? They are meant to give a platform to me and you. Probably Nkuru, you were prime minister at the university. To give Nkuru a chance to explore realistic avenues of how she can explode and maybe enhance her abilities. Then when someone is getting out of the university, what's the first aspect is to get a job. Get a job and survive. Because the people in the village are poor. The villages from where Nkuru and the rest of us are coming from are poor. So students
Nkuru, is that the position? Yes, it is. You might find it's not a position.
Another conflict of interest. Nkuru is my friend. So I'm using, but so that I don't lose the context, Treslin, Madam Moderator, and the viewers, what I'm trying to mean is that we need to first level the terrain from which the youth that we are advocating for are surviving. Because by the time we question what we are teaching in the university, since you cited that I'm a lecturer, before we question what we are teaching in the university, we need to question the people we are teaching, how ready they are. How willing they are to take on what we are teaching, because their mind is already conflicted that what they hear is that there is unemployment. Now, I am bringing to them the idea, not the idea, the fact that 90% of the youth that are employed are actually not on contract. They are no signed contracts, you're lawyers. So there is no formal education. So we are leaving 75% of the population that are youth to survive on informal sector. That's why we have everyone who gets the phone thinks they can make a living from the phone regardless of if they abuse someone or not, because they need money to survive in Kampala.
Right.
Now, to stick to the discussion, what does this mean? That's the question. This means that we need not to take youth issues as a niche. We should not discuss youth as if it's a niche. No, the government needs to be told in front of its face that the youth are not a niche, but rather they should be at the center stage for the capital development of this country. Starting from how they are educated, to how they are trained with skills, both hard skills and soft skills, so that they are ready to take this country forward. There's Mandela Washington program.
Fellowship.
A fellowship. There is that the one you have finished.
The East African Youth.
The East African Youth Fellowship. I've cited for you 2 fellowships. But I want you to go to the biggest university in this country, probably Makerere. Conflict of interest, I work with it.
It is.
It is the biggest statistically. Now, ask the student leaders in that university who are supposed to be groomed into transition of leading this nation if they are actually aware of these fellowships. So where is the gap? The gap is between information sharing from UN, from these partnerships. Universities have secured memorandums of understanding with big organizations, but the information stream to the youth is missing. So, as I finalize this segment and I give my people a chance, the discussion should not be seen as youth are a niche of a certain, we are a certain niche in a society. No, the youth are the society.
Amazing. And of course, we know that when you have the largest numbers, you automatically should be given the priority, which is not usually the case. But allow me to read a few comments here on YouTube in case you've just joined in, or please remember that we are also streaming live on YouTube. And we do have Agalandine who says, my teacher, I'm proud of you. And I think that is Lambert. Thank you so much, Lynn, for joining in. We also have, she says, my teacher, I'm proud of you. Yes. We also have Adkin Claire, who says, I'm proud of my mentor, Academia Space Uganda. Lambert, you seem to have a lot of flowers here. We also have Matovu Brian, who says, happy to hear Sir Lambert. Hi. Then we have Brian Baba, who says, that's my guy. We have Gibbs, Amex, these names, who says, how can I join the Youth of Purpose program? Please feel free to keep following us and inbox us on all our numbers, the social media numbers. We shall be able to host you. We also have Kwesiga Emmanuel, who says, my people. Thank you so much, Kwesiga, for following. We have Astro Prince, who says 100% with a thumbs up. We also have Namanya Lake, who says, I love the idea, Sir Lambert. We have Gilbis again. He says, Mr. Polot, I'm proud of you, my guy from Tessoland. and of course, we also have Fidel Ongoya, who says, tuned in from Kenya. So thank you so much, Fidel, for tuning in from Kenya. And
Asanteni, Fidel.
I wish we could host here in Uganda for the political conversation, especially ahead of elections. But we shall see how to have that. Let me get back to you, Nkuru. And again, my question is going to be on young people's representation and participation in decision-making processes, but also in political engagement. And I want you to bring it from a point of a student, but also from a point of gender equality in the struggle for young people's representation, not just at the university, but even after the transition of the university. Yes.
Thank you so much for that. If we talk about representation, I'm going to first talk about representation. It would be unfair for me to say we don't have representatives at all arms of government, all levels. Because we've seen we have national youth MPs, we have NYC, we have women councillors and male councillors at, the lower level. But the question is, are we really doing our mandates? Because in most cases, we've seen most of our leaders that we have out there are so hell-bent in proving themselves. They are not providing a platform for their fellows because they want to first prove themselves. I can do this. I have done this. I have achieved this. And we're also trying to, we are so much engulfed in trying to prove ourselves that we do not utilize the opportunities that we have at hand. If I am given an office, I'm going to first focus on trying to prove that young people, we can do things, other than immediately handling issues that are affecting most of the youth, most of my fellows. We just want to prove ourselves. We do not want to bring out the issues because we want to first prove that we actually qualify. But by mere fact that you've actually attained that office, it's not rocket science. You do qualify. So where is the problem? We should just come down to the ground. We should not actually forget our roots. If the youth have pushed you and have given you the right to go and represent them, come back to them, listen to them. I know most of the people, maybe politicians, are going to argue that we've had monetization. If I've given you money, then I don't owe you accountability. But that's not right. As a good leader, even though we have other things coming through like monetization, it's your mandate to be accountable to your subjects. Because
let me bring in there when you say, and that's a conversation I've always had with young people here, that the moment you allow to be paid to vote someone, in a way you have waived your right to ask for accountability, because now you have looked at representation as business and transaction, and so someone is going to say, oh, I paid you off. So and yet most of the good leaders are usually lost because they do not have that money.
But coming back to you, we spoke about the informal sector, most of us being in the informal sector. Do you really think we can have an election where there is no money? In our country, Uganda as a context.
But the amount of money that was spent in the previous election was too much money.
My neighbor argues that
I think I am of the view that actually elections can run at minimum. Of course, there is money that can legally be spent within an election, you know, to support the campaign of the candidate.
It's actually no.
Yeah.
Even political parties are given money by iPod.
That is quite different from the money that should be spent in buying off people. But you know what happens is that the unfortunate bit of it is that there are many of these leaders who go and get loans and then use this money to buy people. You find people lining up and everyone is being given 1,000 shillings, unfortunately, in some areas in the country, or being given a certain piece of soap. And
so
they transact, which is unfortunate.
But the story is not different even with the youth. In fact, it is worse.
It is worse.
The money we spend in a constituency is almost less than the money a youth member of parliament is going to spend. And these are young people that are voting a fellow young person, perhaps has just finished from school and all that, but they expect you to give them $1 million to vote for you.
But then also we cannot blame the people for not representing us, because you don't expect a youth, but someone who is actually rightfully supposed to attain the seat to have that money that we are requesting.
But my friend Nkuru and my senior council, and you council, I beg to differ. Are the problems of the youth going to be solved by politics? Should we be discussing, because we have youth that are in parliament?
But that's
why should we shy away? We have youth that are in parliament. Let's not politicize service delivery. Service delivery is leadership, Nkuru. Did you need money to start a podcast? You have hosted great leaders. Did you have money?
I think the conversation number there is on representation. Where actual decisions that affect us are done.
And of course, politics.
Parliament is one of the key entries where there is advocacy is always done. We've seen the National Youth Legislative Agenda being on, people putting inputs here and there.
Yes,
but you still realize that most of the young people seem to have offices but without power.
Okay, I took your 1 minute. Please, you can continue.
No, it's okay, I'm bored. Your minute.
You can add on.
So it takes me back. Like what I was saying, we cannot shy away from politics.
Yes.
Because for us to have representatives, there has to be politics in play. Right. And of course, we cannot talk about politics in Uganda without monetization, especially for the youth.
Okay.
Because those are some of the critical positions that we expect to be fully represented. But then we are seeing people buy off some of these positions just like that. So this affects our service delivery. But then it goes back to us, the people and the leaders that are going out. We believe that by mere fact that you stood up to go for that position, you can fully represent us. So please make sure that you come back to the grassroots, find out the issues affecting us, and do the work. Everyone is tired of crying every time. We have youth members of parliament, but we are not fully represented. And also the representation, we have the regional youth MPs, but then they are centered. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. We are having people being centered in certain districts. You will never, I don't know, for maybe because I was maybe young, but it's hard for you to find maybe a Western Youth MP in Kisoro district in a certain village. Even if they are to come, they go to the district LC headquarters and that's it. But the actual problems are in the villages. We are living out these people.
I think we need to also have a conversation on how we can empower the local structures. Because we have a chairperson, youth council at the village level. You have a whole team of 9 members. But the positions seem to be just vehicles for
and also
campaigns.
The influence.
But of course, today we promise to keep our online audience activated. And I come with the second set of comments. And thank you for following us. So we have Andy Billy, who says, I appreciate the team, big up Lambert. I have Asime Daffin, who says, thank you for tackling this question. I'm glad the right person is on the call, and that is Lambert. Lambert. We have Onen Charles, who says that my brother Lambert, so proud of you, always from Ops. And then we have Sydney Jordan, who says, shine on, sir. And then we have Kansime Ivan, who says, shout out to all of you. We have Namwang Shamim, who says, I believe this time I'm in the right place. Wow, Sir Lambert. Hey!
Beautiful.
Then we have Nkurunziza Brenda Hilda, who says, I'm very proud of you, Nkuru. I think this Nkuru knows Nkuru. Says, I'm very proud of you, Nkuru. And then we have Otajembo Group Limited, who says, thank you so much, Sister Cheslin. And then we have Alan, who says, it's a privilege to join this conversation. Thanks, Sir Lambert, for the platform, Academia Space Uganda. Lambert, you're doing amazing work. And
the government should pay.
He said we should do freely. We should do willingly. No money. But let me get now to you, Solomon. And I want you to take us into the regional conversation on young people's inclusion and participation. I am an advocate of good leadership and governance, and I understand that most questions can be addressed if we actually deal with the leadership question and governance question. I want you to take us to a room of a young person in Kisumu in Kenya, of a young person in Arusha in Tanzania, of a young person in Kapelebiong where you come from, and what
explore Kapelebiong.
Yes, what this specific conversation would mean to them and how inclusive we can have their conversation even at a regional level.
Yeah, thank you very much. As I transition into your question, I need to really emphasize and conclude what we are discussing about money in politics, because it's very, very important. I think we are losing out on a good breed of servant leaders.
Yes.
Yeah, because of that issue of monetization. We really need to find everywhere possible to create strong policies that will really address this issue of monetization, to extract money, abnormal money from the political space, or from elections especially. Yeah, but for the component, I look at a number of countries that do politics, elections like us. Well, they can also have campaign budgets and all, but not specifically for paying off people, buying voters and all. We really need to get into a generation, and the generation is now, because we are at a level in the history of Uganda where we have the biggest number of educated people, and so we need to translate this education where people have gone to different schools. We need to translate this into impact for society. Someone has been educated really from nursery, went through 3 stages of nursery, went to primary 7 years, went to secondary school, and then went to university, and then they really get bought. I mean, they sell themselves. It's like Saul. You remember Saul in the Bible?
They are unemployed. Someone is looking at the next to me.
Exactly.
And you can't blame them.
Yes, that's
People
very,
are poor.
That's unfortunate. I think we need to remove the soul mentality from people. You cannot really transact your birthright. The decision making, this is something that you have been given, the God-given will to choose, and God has given us the power to choose either life or death.
Should we rather
choose
say
life?
Yes, should we rather
as you vote, choose life.
Should we rather say that?
Yeah.
There's a statement I always make, that there is a thin line between youth economic empowerment and meaningful representation.
Very right.
So should we rather say that we should actually advocate for youth economic empowerment, because now if someone is able to earn something, if someone is able to, because there's this thing that the one who gives you money controls you.
Yeah,
whoever feeds you controls you.
Yeah.
So how do we tackle more the question of economic empowerment?
Yeah.
Because I feel like if we actually addressed the question of economic empowerment, then we would have much more of a meaningful representation.
But Tresselyn, I think it is also an issue of the moral fabric of society in regards to electioneering. You'll be shocked. I think you may know in your spaces that you've been that a number of youth who are actually even economically empowered, probably come from wealthy families and are participating in youth politics, will still as well, go to these spaces and ask the same question. Am I having an allowance now for the college elections? Because
Most of them will be the candidates, not the
Actually, most of them are the candidates.
The college elections actually usually attract a lot of money being poured, because I hear people are taken to certain hotels, yeah, and then certain candidates are looking for the voters to speak to them, but the voters are being hoarded into certain.
It is very funny because and you'll find someone's father who is perhaps 29, because this gives leeway for people up to 30 years, 29 years. He's calling you, Tressyline, a young girl, telling you, Tressyline, where am I going to sleep this night? You have to take me to this specific hotel, pay me allowance.
So we need to really deal with that, Tressyline. Yeah, but I think, just as you have noted, I believe this is a conversation that we should have another day on its own show in regards to electioneering and democratic governance. But now let me go to the question you raised, looking into the region, East Africa. I mean, the news, every day you turn on TV and you see there is a certain kind of desire. You know, we are an empowered generation. We are quite very empowered. We are knowledgeable. We have been exposed. And so we have certain expectations that we really aspire to see different leaders, or we aspire to see servants or those who come up to lead deliver. Unfortunately, of course, some of the leaders across the divide have not delivered as per probably their manifestos. They have not really listened to the voices on the ground. You know, they forget that, you know, these people that voted us are supposed to hold us accountable, as is supposed to be in a democratic, you know, a democratic society. Yeah. So because of the shrinking democratic space in the different parts of the region, you know, there is a huge desire within many of the youth. In the, you know, when we're starting earlier, I painted to us a picture of the fact that the number of youth in certain countries on the continent that are in crisis, they do not know where they're going to find the next meal. They do not know how a blackboard or a screen looks like, a learning screen looks like, because every other day it is bullets that are conversing. It is bullets making decisions for people. It is RPGs that are being used, you know, to make conversations in the different spaces. So it is unfortunate. And, you know, we need to come to a place where we choose to take action as a continent, you know, to redirect the continent towards a better direction. We have to choose, you know, sometimes it will take a sacrifice, that, you know, we have to really build a democratic space. I mean, we shouldn't be enemies because we have different opinions. We shouldn't be enemies because, I mean, I've asked you to account, you know, of a certain service that you promised to deliver, or that you are mandated by law to deliver. No, we shouldn't be enemies because I rise up to probably oppose your opinion. We should agree to disagree, you know, but also ensure that we protect our rights, you know. So there is that desire for protection of rights across the continent, among the youth. Of course, you know, there are many examples of what has happened on the continent, and, you know, it is a hope that these things do not happen again. We hope that the continent can choose a better direction and write a better story or in the democratic space.
I wanted to add something small. A minute. The one I stole from her.
No, you took my minute, actually.
When I was listening to counsel, something came to my mind. If at this stage we are still discussing how youth are going to get the spirit to fight for themselves, then I think before we blame all the people responsible, we need to first blame ourselves. Look, we have moral degeneration. It's a fact. And SDG is trying to have that handled. You are part of those people. You chose which SDG? She chose some SDG that she's fronting. It should be gender
SDG
equality.
5 and 16.
Yes, SDG 5 and 16. Gender equality. I think I chose 4. That I'm fronting quality education.
You're holding yourselves accountable.
Yes, we are holding ourselves accountable. But look, what do we need to do when MPs